In order to create a Google form, you can go to forms.google.com, or you can go into your Google Drive and click New, More, Google Forms. This will open an untitled Google form. You can change the title by clicking in the top left and typing whatever you would like and clicking outside of that box. Please note that the top left is the name of the document itself, and right here in the middle is the forefront of what people see when they see the form, and these can be different. So for example, this could give more detail. This under here is the form description. You can leave it blank, but this is typically where I would type directions for people taking the form. Down here is your very first question. A question automatically appears when you create a new form. When you click on a question, it allows you to edit it. So right here, I can say, what is your favorite color? I can then choose an image if I'd like to add to the form question. If I click on that, I can upload one from my camera, URL, photos, Google Drive, or I can even do an image search. So I might want to do paint colors. Click on something that works for me and press insert. Once the image is there, I can actually adjust it by clicking on it and adjusting the size to whatever I prefer. So there are a lot of different types of questions. Multiple choice is the automatic one that shows up. There's also short answer, which actually does limit the amount typed. Paragraph, which is unlimited typing. Check boxes look like this. You can actually select more than one box. A drop-down sounds exactly like what it is. It numbers the options, but when the person views it, they'll actually see a drop-down menu just like this box right here that I'm clicking on. File upload allows people to upload a file as a response. So this would be something if you'd want them to turn in a document of some sort. A linear scale is like, for example, a scale of 1 to 5 where you can label what 1 and 5 are, like agree to disagree. Multiple choice grid actually has rows and columns, and you can select different rows and columns and add more than one column. Checkbox grid is exactly the same, but they'd be able to select more than one option in the grid. Date and time are just options instead of just asking for a date or time for them to actually select from a calendar. I'm going to choose multiple choice. In order to type your answers, you just click on this right here and start typing. To add a new one, you just click below and it'll make a new line appear. Like so. Now let's say that I wanted to give the people an option for other. I just click right here and it adds it in. If I want to duplicate this question because I'm using this format over and over again and I just want to change a few details, I can press this button right here to duplicate the question and make it the exact copy below. If I ever want to delete a question, I would just click on the question and press delete. Making a question required means that the person cannot move on from the form until they finish that question. So some questions you can choose as required while others not. If I click on this right here, it'll turn it as required, and if I turn it off, it's not. Then there are some more advanced options. If you click on this little ... you can show or hide a description. So just as we had at the top, where there were directions, you can actually add a directions line here. If you don't want that, you would just uncheck it by clicking it again. Another option is to go to section based on answer. This can get a bit complicated, but it's pretty cool to use when you're using formative assessments or different types of surveys. If I click on that, that means that anytime someone picked red, I can choose to continue to a different section, or even if they select red, they're done. And then if they select blue, they might go somewhere else. And I'll show you, you can make sections up here, but basically you could have this almost like a choose your own adventure. If you don't want to see that and it's too overwhelming, you can just uncheck it. And last but not least, shuffle option order. This literally means that if I was going to take this and I'm participant 1, I might see red, blue, green, and then participant 2 taking the exact same form might see blue, green, red. So it just literally shuffles the question order. And again, you can uncheck that if you'd like. When you're done with that, you have some more options on the right here. You can add a new question by clicking on this. It'll format this so it's a little bit more like a preview, and then I'll have an editing one right here. Again, if you want to go back, you just simply click on it to edit it, or back to here. If you want to move questions around, this little gray area up here, if you click on it, you can actually drag and drop questions in a different order. There's also import questions, which is a little bit more advanced. We're not going to talk about that today. Add a title and a description. You don't have to put that at the top. You can actually put that anywhere. So if I add a title, I can actually drag it here below another question. And maybe I want to like explain that they're onto a new section or a new type of question, or, you know, maybe if it's a quiz, I might have multiple choice and then I might say open response. And this is the bolded section that says open response before they get to those questions. I can add just an image or a video on its own. I do this a lot, especially with remote learning. I press add video, and I actually put in a YouTube video either of myself talking or of something that I found interesting on YouTube. And then I'll just try that. Let's just for fun here. Once I have that, I press select. I can actually title the video and say something like, watch this. I can make the video bigger if I would like to. And then I can add a question afterward. So I like doing that so that the kids can watch a video and then answer a question like, did you like this? And the coolest thing ever is that Forms is pretty intuitive, and it kind of is watching what you're doing as you're doing it. So it actually suggests, would you like to add yes, no, or maybe, and then add all. And I did that, so I didn't even have to type in those things. It just assumed that's what I wanted. Another cool thing is that if, for example, I added a question and I was saying, what is your name? ? It actually automatically changed to short answer and assumes that that's what you want. So there's some really cool features there that are more automated. So that's basically how to make questions. Up at the top, you have some other options. For example, add-ons. You could get into a whole different bunch of add-ons that Google has available. The customized theme, right now we're just this purple form, but I could click on here. I could choose an image to put at the top. I could change the color if I wanted to. This actually shows you what it looks like to other people. So if you click right here, it's a great way to preview exactly what the survey looks like to other people. And the settings. So there are a few different settings. One, do you want to collect email addresses? This would require people to sign in, but it would in fact collect their information, their email addresses, and you can actually send them a receipt that you got their responses. If you're in a school, you might be able to restrict users to only your organization, or uncheck that to not restrict it. Limit to one response. This would actually require someone to sign into Google, because that's the only way to tell whether or not they've responded. And edit after submit will allow them to go back and edit their answers. See summary charts would actually give them a summary of what other people, it's an anonymous summary, but a summary of what other people's responses were. Presentation, you can actually show a progress bar. If it's one of those really long surveys or questions or quizzes, you could actually show a progress bar and say how far along they are. Shuffle question order is just like shuffle answer order, but it would shuffle the questions in the way that they see them. This is great if you're taking a quiz of some sort. And show link to submit another response. That pops up automatically when they submit, but you can uncheck that if you don't want them to. It automatically says your response has been recorded when you're done, but you can actually give them information right here. Quiz mode I can get into in a whole different video, but it's pretty cool. And it can turn this into a quiz that auto grades. But when I'm done, I just press save. And in order to send this, I literally press send. I can send it to emails right here with an actual message. I can actually get a link right here and shorten the link and copy and paste that link to, say, my Google Classroom or to an email, however I want to do that. I can embed it into a website. And the other thing I want you to note is that there's two ways to share this, like you would share a Google Doc to have a collaborator. This is how to share the survey to take, but in order to add a collaborator, you would actually click right here, or if you press this little ... you can add a collaborator here. Again, that's someone who can actually edit the form itself, not just answer it. Last but not least, responses. When you click right here, it says I have 0 responses. I can actually click on this green to make a spreadsheet of my responses. But what will happen is that as people answer this, the answers will actually come up right here, and that'll be another video for another time. But that's basically how to create and send a form. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me.